The Alabama Farmers Federation and the Alabama Farmers Cooperative proudly present Simply Southern with your hosts Jim Allen and Mary Johnson.
Good morning and welcome to Simply Southern. I'm Jim Allen.
And I'm Mary Johnson. Coming up on today's show, football, baseball, basketball, bass fishing? It's a relatively new sport in Alabama high schools, but it's making athletes out of students who are more at home in a boat than on a grass field.
You can't just sit down in the boat like other people think and just throw out there and hope to catch something. You got to try to catch them.
Plus, honeybees. Who doesn't love a taste of honey? Well, bees are largely responsible for a number of other products. Most importantly, the food we depend on 3 times a day.
1/3 of the food we eat is contributed to pollinators, and out of that 1/3, 80% of it is honeybees.
And this week, Sydney Phelps of Bonnie Plants is out of the garden and in the kitchen, showing us how to prepare some of those delicious vegetables and herbs we've been growing this year.
But to get us started, we're off to Gadsden, where a small group of entrepreneurs is bringing the craft beer craze to Alabama.
What one thing can you say about your local quality co-op store? You can trust us. You get what you need for your farm, for your lawn and garden, and the safest products for your pets. We're locally owned and operated, and you can trust that we care about our community and the people in it. So if you're a raised bed gardener, a rose gardener, or if you farm hundreds of acres, the Quality Co-op Store has exactly what you need to get the job done. All this plus friendly, knowledgeable advice. Your Quality Co-op Store. There's one near you.
The blessing of Alabama agriculture is more than 3 meals a day. It means independence from foreign nations, freedom to pursue other jobs and activities, conservation of natural resources, and preservation of family values. For 93 years, the Alabama Farmers Federation has brought together the men and women whose work fills our plates and fuels the American dream.
For nearly 50 years, the electric cooperatives of Alabama have been giving young people an opportunity to visit our nation's capital, where they learn about the value of electric cooperatives and the importance of grassroots advocacy. Top students join with thousands of others touring monuments, landmarks, and meeting with their congressional delegation. The Rural Electric Youth Tour program. Just one more way the electric cooperatives of Alabama are investing in the future of our state.
I'm gonna need an electrician.
Rita and Mike were replacing a built-in microwave.
Don't scratch the stove.
Okay.
All right, let's go get something to eat.
Smart and beautiful.
When Rita called, she said, "You're not gonna believe what happened." I said, "Rita, because we had your regular Alpha policy review, your damage is covered."
Glad we left the insurance to a pro.
Good call.
For service and savings, call Alpha.
Well, we didn't scratch the stove.
Beer is one of the oldest man-made beverages, dating back to the Stone Age. Today, as farmers markets nationwide enjoy renewed interest in locally produced goods, small beer companies are finding similar success quenching the thirst for closer-to-home brew. Gadsden is home to one of the leaders in a growing small business movement in Alabama, craft beer. In 2009, Back 40 Brewing Company began operation as one of only 2 breweries in the state. Alabama's regulatory laws regarding beer sales at the time presented a difficult environment for the fledgling company, which they chose to reflect in their name.
The South in general is the Back 40 craft beer. With some of the challenging laws that we had when we first started. Once we've kind of taken the time to put some effort in changing some of those laws to allow us to sell beer out of a tap room, or to allow us to brew a 7% beer as opposed to a 5.5% beer. You've seen over the past 4 years, you've seen almost 30 breweries in Alabama get their licenses and start operation.
Back 40 produces 4 different beers available year-round throughout the Southeast, with 2 other varieties produced on a seasonal basis. In 2012, they opened the doors on their Gadsden production facility and tasting room, and this spring have begun a new food service, sharing resources with local farms in the area.
We've been able to partner up with a couple of the farmers that we give our spent grain to. They feed it to their cows and chickens. Since they're farmers, they're also growing lettuces and tomatoes and onions, and we're able to get a little bit of that product in return.
Being part of the agricultural community has been a focus of the growing company. As well as trading for meat and produce, Back 40's most popular offering, Truck Stop Honey, takes advantage of locally produced resources.
Right now our biggest supplier is Coal Creek Honey out of Hoax Bluff, which is about 10 minutes east of here. So that goes into our beer, but we also sell it in bottles as well. It's the purest raw honey, best tasting honey that I've ever had. And over the past 5 years, we've tasted a lot trying to get our hands on a good supplier.
Utilizing a variety of grains, hops, and even fruit, beer production heavily relies on agriculture. The relationships Back 40 has created with local producers have made them a welcome neighbor in the farming community.
To start with, they're using a great quantity of grain, and then they're contributing to the feeding of livestock. So they're hand in hand with all of agriculture as far as I can see.
And supporting local farmers in general, you know, it's big. You know, the community is important to us, and making sure that we can take care of the folks around us is very important as well.
While most of the state's craft breweries have located in the larger metropolitan areas, Back 40 is proud to call Gadsden home. With involvement in local events and charities like the Humane Shelter and United Way, they have been an active figure in the community since opening and are a popular draw every weekend to locals and tourists alike.
We're in Northeast Alabama. It's absolutely gorgeous. We've got a lot of natural resources around us. We've got a local city government that has been behind us from day one. We're employing local people. We're generating a lot of revenue. We're very heavily involved in our local community. Even if you don't drink beer, I would encourage you to come and see our operation. You know, it's fun. And we like to show it off too. So we'd love for anybody to come check it out.
Besides their craft beer and local honey, Back 40 also offers their own brand of vinegar, which I'm told makes a fantastic salad dressing.
Now, Jim, I would imagine you're more interested in the beer than the salad dressing there. Did you get to taste test anything at Back 40?
I did. I had one peach beer, and it was much better than a peach knee-high, let me tell you.
That does sound good.
Coming up next, many students who never expected to compete in high school sports are finding their place. It's not on a grass field, but on the water. We'll show you the newest sport being adopted by many schools when Simply Southern continues.
Alabama soybean farmers help fuel the state's economy. Soybeans are used to make clean, renewable biodiesel and are a key ingredient in feed for poultry, catfish, and livestock. Soybeans are used in dozens of products we use every day. But best of all, soybean farmers generate $258 million and more than 4,000 jobs for Alabama's economy, all while helping conserve our natural resources. Explore the power of soy. Brought to you by the Alabama Beef Checkoff Program. Fire up the grills. Beef, it's what's for dinner.
Today's farming operation is more complex than ever before, with precision agriculture becoming an integral piece to farm management. AccuField provides precision agriculture technologies and site-specific management capabilities in a simplified and interactive format, helping you put all the pieces of the farming puzzle together. For more information, visit us at www.accufield.com.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed. Because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie plants, so you'll know how to grow.
Team sports are endemic to high school life. Whether they're standing on the sidelines or hanging out around the dugout, students build relationships and skills that last through the years. Not all contests are settled with a ball, however. This week, Samantha Carpenter explores a sport that has a growing number of high schools in the state hooked.
In high schools across Alabama, football, basketball, and baseball are well-known competitive sports. But bass fishing, well, it's bigger than you may think.
When it comes to extracurricular school activities, Lane Barrett is the envy of many of his fellow high school students. Lane is a member of Wetumpka High School's bass fishing team. Composed of more than 20 student anglers, the Wetumpka High team is one of many in a rapidly growing youth sport in Alabama.
I went to a previous school the year before that actually started a fishing team. Alabama Christian Academy, they started a fishing team, and I fished there, did all right there, and then I moved high schools to Wetumpka High School and found out through friends that they had a fishing team too. So I joined it to see how I would do there, and I like it.
Wetumpka coach Barry Korbman is the president of the Alabama Student Angler Bass Fishing Association. With over 2,000 members in the state, the ASA-BFA is one of the bigger competitive fishing organizations in Alabama.
It's a high school fishing association that's been around for about 6 years now. We are made up primarily of high school and middle school and junior high school students, male and female, 7th through 12th grade basically is what it boils down to. We go out and competitive fish, both district where we fish for our teams itself, and then we have our state qualifiers that takes us to if you qualify into the state championship tournament. So it's high school fishing just like most any other bass tournament trail that you see out there.
In a state steeped in gridiron tradition, a day on the lake sounds tame by comparison. However, team members spend a great deal of practice, time, and research preparing for tournaments, which can mean the difference between a good day out or an empty hook.
Stop!
You have to get the right technique. You got to work all day at it. You can't just sit down in the boat like other people think and just throw out there and hope to catch something. You got to try to catch them.
It's very, very competitive. And if you don't put in the time and effort into it like that, you won't have much success in it. It's obvious by some of the teams that put more time into it that they do quite well.
While it can be hard work, competitive fishing has opened some doors to many students unable to participate in more traditional high school sports.
This gives a whole different group of students a chance to get in and do something that otherwise they might not have to be able to compete. We have some that have some disabilities that would not allow them to play contact sports. They can get in this and be just as competitive as anybody. It gives them that sense of participation just like all the other team sports do.
Lane's father, a competitive fisherman himself, serves as a boat captain for the Wetumpka High School team. Piloting the student anglers in their many practices and tournaments throughout the state, he has experienced firsthand the impact the sport has had for Lane and his teammates.
It's great that the high school has come up with this sport. Just the camaraderie he gets with the fellow anglers. He gets to meet just fishermen from all over the state. And even though I don't get to fish in these tournaments, I get to watch my son competing, and when he's up on the front of that boat and he's doing what he loves to do, it just makes it worth it to see him enjoying and see these other kids enjoying doing what they love to do.
For Simply Southern, I'm Samantha Carpenter.
Korbman also said being part of the team has helped several students keep up their grades because membership requires at least a 2.0 grade point average, and scholarships are available through the state association.
You know, Mary, if they'd had bass fishing when I was in high school, I might have lettered.
Yeah, you could have gotten one of those nice jackets, right? Yeah. When Simply Southern continues, we all remember the uncomfortable sting of a bee. But these creatures do far more good than harm. We'll look at the amazing honeybee in just a moment.
Support healthy food from local farmers by purchasing a Farming Feeds Alabama license plate. The tag funds education and promotion efforts, including Ag in the Classroom, agricultural scholarships, and youth programs. Get your Ag Tag today.
There's nothing quite like sitting down to a home-cooked meal with fresh vegetables from the garden. With Bonnie plants from your local quality co-op store, you can enjoy the freshest vegetables right from your own backyard. And no matter if you're a raised bed gardener, a rose gardener, or if you farm hundreds of acres, your quality co-op store has exactly what you need to get the most out of your plants. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
Alabama wheat and feed grain farmers grow food, fuel, and freedom. Their harvest helps feed Alabama's multi-million-dollar livestock, catfish, and poultry industries while reducing America's dependence on foreign countries for energy and food. By combining their strength with farmers of other commodities, feed grain growers are fueling the economic growth of Alabama communities.
Alabama soybean farmers help fuel the state's economy. Soybeans are used to make clean, renewable biodiesel and are a key ingredient in feed for poultry, catfish, and livestock. Soybeans are used in dozens of products we use every day. But best of all, soybean farmers generate $258 million and more than 4,000 jobs for Alabama's economy, all while helping conserve our natural resources. Explore the power of soy.
We've all had that uncomfortable feeling of a bee buzzing around and wishing it would just go away. But the truth is, without these tiny creatures, our world would be a much different place. As Kevin Worthington reports, honeybees are critical not only in producing honey, but in producing most of the things we eat.
For Philip Garrison, the rewards of being a beekeeper are sweet. But the benefits of bees extend to everyone who takes a bite of food.
1/3 of the food we eat is contributed to pollinators, and out of that 1/3, 80% of it is honeybees.
Garrison owns about 130 hives and places most of them near farmers' fields. He says experience has shown that crops are more effectively pollinated and are therefore more productive when the honeybees are at work.
One particular farmer that I go to, he said the cotton where I had all my bees at, there happened to be about 80 or 100 acres of cotton there. And I carried 72 colonies up there. And he said that cotton made a lot more cotton than other cotton did, even some of the irrigated cotton.
And what's good for cotton is good for other crops too. Whether it's squash, cucumbers, watermelons, or many of the other foods we enjoy, honeybees help feed a growing population. Garrison says he's proud of the role bees play in agriculture, but he's really concerned with the same thing the bees are.
I want to help people with pollination, but I'm a little greedy. I've got about 130 hives. I'm not a big beekeeper by no means, but you know, I'm in it for honey production. And so therefore I put bees on certain farms. I've got them in 12, 13 different places here in the county.
After the honey is extracted twice a year, it's packaged and sold at a number of retail outlets.
You know, I harvest anywhere from 4,000 to 7,000 pounds of honey a year, and I sell a 2.5 pound jar for 12 bucks. 1 pound jar set for $6. That sounds like a lot, but when you buy supplies and you buy queens every year, you know, it's a decent amount of money. Now, I can't make a living off 130 hives. If I had 500, I think I could. But I enjoy it, and it's, you know, some people likes it as a hobby. It's a hobby that will pay for itself, basically.
Another way he helps pay for his hobby is by utilizing the byproducts. When the cells in the honeycomb are opened, the small wax cappings are discarded, or they're cleaned and made into candles.
We sell a lot of candles, and the people enjoy burning them. Beeswax candles burn longer and hotter. They're very hot. You have to make sure you put them in a proper container because it will break some because it burns so hot. But it does burn real slow and it's real clean. And they say that beeswax purifies the air. I don't know if it does not, but it sure does smell good. It smells like honey to me, and money.
Garrison says his goal is to sell everything the bee makes, from honey to wax to even pollen. But the money he makes is secondary to the satisfaction he gets from working with them.
But I love beekeeping. It's nature at its best. It's just amazing to watch them work together. Inside of a hive, if we as humans work just like honeybees, there's nothing we couldn't conquer.
For Simply Southern, I'm Kevin Worthington.
Because the honeybee touches our lives in so many ways, the Alabama legislature passed a bill this year designating the queen honeybee as a state agricultural insect.
Jim, that's a really well-deserved honor too, because not only are they important for beekeepers, but other farmers rely on them a lot.
And gardeners.
Oh yes, gardeners rely on the honeybee too.
After the break, instead of being in the garden, we're in the kitchen with Sidney Phelps this week. He'll show us how those Bonnie Plants herbs can spice up your next meal.
This seems unbelievable, but I promise it's true.
What's with the buzzer? Oh, that's a raven. That's a good omen. He knows we're coming back with dinner.
Well, that bird had a bunch of friends. And when Scott got back to the camper...
Oh, that was a buzz! What? Scott! Wait, what did you do? It's raining inside.
His new camper was a total loss, but his Alpha policy covered it.
It's that bird.
For service and savings, call Alpha.
Making sure you're covered?
Good call.
It's been said, without hard work, nothing grows but weeds. This is certainly true in agriculture. At the Alabama Farmers Federation, we know success is not born of fancy words, grand ideas, or good intentions. It's a result of wise planning, bold leadership, dedicated work, and blessings from above.
Support healthy food from local farmers by purchasing a Farming Feeds Alabama license plate. The tag funds education and promotion efforts, including Ag in the Classroom, agricultural scholarships, and youth programs. Get your Ag tag today.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed. Because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie plants, so you'll know how to grow.
Hey folks, Sidney Phelps here with Bonnie Plants. We got a lot of comments about our kitchen segment, so we wanted to bring you back into the kitchen and work on some new ideas. Today we want to talk about pesto. So pesto is a real popular dish in most Italian foods, and you're seeing it a lot more in different restaurants. Now, pesto is very simple to make, so that's why we wanted to show you how to do it today. We've got 2 cups of fresh basil right from the garden. We've got 3/4 of a cup of olive oil. We've got peanuts. A lot of times people use pine nuts in this. I like using the flavor of peanuts because it gives you an extra bit of salt with your pesto. Garlic, Parmesan cheese, you can use pecorino. It just depends, yet again, on personal preference. Salt and pepper to taste. That being said, we're going to start the pesto off. We're going to add the basil here to the blender. Now you can use a blender, food processor, whatever you've got available at your home. Food processors are typical, but this is a really good blender and I like using it. So we're going to add the basil to the blender here. This is 2 cups of loose leaf basil, so get all that in there. All right, we're going to add our peanuts. This is a 1/4 cup of just regular roasted peanuts. We're going to add 2 cloves of garlic. Now, we're going to add 1 more clove just to give it a little bit, a small one here. A trick with garlic when you're dealing with cloves, you've got this skin. And the easy way to do this is just take the flat side of a knife, press it 1 time, and you can see that the skin comes off rather easily. So, I'm going to put that to the side and then just throw that in there. So we've got the cheese. I'm going to add the cheese in there. This is just shredded Parmesan. And we're going to add, well, first we want to get this going here. Seal the top down good. Lock it into place. Turn the power on. We're going to pulse it a couple of times. Okay. Everything's shredded down now at some point, so we're going to add about half of this olive oil in. So, get that in there. There we go. And we're going to start pulsing again. Okay. going to put it on low speed 1 and start adding the rest of the olive oil. Okay, that is it. Our pesto is set up, and basically just going to take this off. The great thing about pesto is just take any type of plate that you've got or bowl, put a little bit there in the center. And you are set, ready to go for dinner. Now, one thing about pesto is it does great in the freezer. So what I have here, just your regular ice cube tray. So what we're going to do with the rest of this pesto is just pour it in this ice cube tray. Top that off with a little bit of oil, and it will last up to 3 months. Put it in a freezer bag, but that's basically it. It's a very simple recipe. It's something you're really going to enjoy. To find out more recipes, go check out bonnieplants.com or the mobile app Homegrown with Bonnie Plants.
You know, Mary, I grow most of the herbs that Bonnie offers, and fresh herbs are so much better than dried herbs.
They really do just add a pep to any meal.
They really do.
Yeah. For more information on incorporating herbs into your backyard garden, just visit bonnieplants.com. You can also find out more about the stories we featured today by visiting their individual websites.
Not only do they produce beer, but Back 40 Brewing hosts a number of events at their facility each year. You can find out more at back40beer.com.
A quick search on Facebook will take you to the Alabama Student Bass Fishing Association's page, where you can learn more about the organization's efforts to get young people involved in fishing, conservation, and developing a love of the outdoors. Additional information on the amazing honeybee is available on the Alabama Farmers Federation website at alphafarmers.org. You can stay up to date on what we're doing here at Simply Southern as well by going to simplysouthern.tv.net or by liking our Simply Southern Facebook page. We hope you'll make plans to be with us next week as we introduce you to a very special teenager. While other kids his age are playing video games, he's actually starting a career as a farmer.
And I'll take you to a ranch unlike most livestock operations in the state. Instead of cattle, they're raising bison. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Simply Southern. I'm Jim Allen.
And I'm Mary Johnson. We hope to see you again next week.
Simply Southern is a production of the Alabama Farmers Cooperative and the Alabama Farmers Federation.